They've been spraying our skies for years, flooding our air, water and soil with toxic chemicals. And now, more than ever, people are finally waking up to it. But what most people still don't realise is this goes far beyond chemtrails. They're triggering earthquakes across the globe with next-gen seismic tech. This isn't a conspiracy theory anymore, it's a conspiracy fact, and it's unfolding right before our eyes. They're also controlling hurricanes. Yes, Bill Gates literally holds the patent for that. US patent 200902894446 for those who do their own research.
When you hear the name Bill Gates, you probably think Microsoft founder, but now the billionaire may be known as the hurricane tamer. Gates is listed as one of 13 inventors on a patent filed for hurricane prevention methods. Hurricanes gain strength from condensation.
Weathermod Inc., a cloud seeding firm bankrolled by Bill Gates, also stands at the centre of controversy over claims they're engineering devastating floods through covert geoengineering operations. Newly leaked whistleblower documents reveal the company's direct involvement in manipulating weather systems to unleash extreme targeted rainfall. Then there's Augustus DeRico, CEO of Rainmaker, a weather modification firm funded by Peter Thiel, and with direct ties to the Clinton Foundation. Here is DeRico explaining weather modification on camera with Sean Ryan, as the geoengineered winter storm timeline snaps perfectly into place.
A lot of what we do right now is snowpack enhancement. So you find the water with the radar, you fly your drone up into these conditions, hope that it survives. You disperse the material. So we have this aerosol dispersion system that basically just emits individual particles that the water freezes onto. With the same radar, you can now see it freezing, growing into bigger snowflakes, and then eventually bigger drops, and measure how much precipitates downwind.
So you're essentially introducing some type of an agent that has weight to it.
You're introducing an agent that the water freezes onto. It's just the weight of the water that pulls it down. So for every pound of this that you put up, you get in excess of 40 million pounds down on the ground.
Have you been in your own rain?
Snow, yeah.
That's not modelling, that's control. Now, pay attention to the timeline. DeRico said a mystery new agent, more effective than silver iodide, would be introduced in January 2026. And guess when the winter storm hit? January 2026, right on schedule.
Most cloud seeding operations in the past have used flares. So they'll burn a flare that aerosolizes the silver iodide. But in the flare, there's a bunch of other junk materials, right? People get concerned about aluminum or stuff like that in the flares. So we don't use that because we don't want any additional additives beyond what is explicitly and exclusively for rainmaking. So our aerosol dispersion system just uses silver iodide. Something that we're working on right now is totally organic material found in American soil that is biodegradable, that is more effective and actually costs less per gram than silver iodide. We have a bunch of lab testing to do before we roll that out to the field, and then we need to do all of the regulatory permissions with the EPA and otherwise. But silver iodide is what we've used for the last 7 months.
When do you think you'll introduce the other agent?
January 2026.
Don't forget that number, 1 in a trillion chance. As for Rainmaker and Augustus DeRico, they're just the fall guys. The public faces lined up to absorb the public distrust and take the fall. Lee Harvey Oswald 2.0. This entire narrative is a smokescreen to keep us from looking at the greater threat. Military-grade weather weapons being deployed in real time against real people. The deep state never does anything small. Their inside jobs are always dramatic, engineered to shock, overwhelm, and paralyze the public. Why? Because when people are emotionally shattered, when their world is turned upside down, the establishment can push through massive, irreversible changes without any resistance.
One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist. Now, what do I mean by allowed to exist? I mean that they are aware that there are benevolent forces that will prevent them from achieving their goals unless we give them permission to enslave us. Ultimately, the universe is intelligent, alive, and conscious, and it is benevolent. It is a benevolent consciousness. That consciousness does not allow the negative to succeed unless it is invited. So the cabal has made a science, a very elaborate science, out of studying these arcane, occult, magical principles that allow them to get away with what they do. So they have to put out everything that tells you who they are in music videos, in these Super Bowl halftime shows, the Grammy Awards ceremonies. They're out there showing you the truth.
And according to declassified NASA documents, 2025 was the target. A year earmarked by the architects of control to unleash full-scale weather manipulation and destroy America from within. Now, in 2026, they are perfecting their weapons and correcting the mistakes of the past. For those still in denial, who think the deep state could never be this bold, this calculated, it's time to brush up on your history. These tactics aren't new. From JFK to the covert weather warfare of Operation Popeye, to the denials of the Nixon era, the playbook hasn't changed.
Alright guys, so let's talk about this winter storm. As far as I'm concerned, this is completely government made. And I will preface what I'm about to say based upon verifiable, declassified government documents that the intelligence agencies in this country have attempted to affect the weather before. And you can just look up Operation Popeye. Operation Popeye was a cloud seeding program during the Vietnam War that essentially aimed to extend monsoon seasons and disrupt enemy supply lines. And this program spanned from 1967 all the way to 1972. So like always when I make these videos, I'm not asking you to be a rocket scientist when thinking about this. Just use your common sense. If over 50 years ago, the government was verifiably working to affect the weather for strategic benefit in a war across the world, just imagine what they're able to do now, 50 years later. So once you realize that, then the question comes in, well, why would the government want to bring a winter storm across the country? And I can think of a lot of different things, but I think ultimately the government just benefits from chaos and news coverage that distracts us from the real issues. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like I'm not the only person who thinks like this.
The only difference now is the scale and who the government is targeting. If you're doing your own research and diving into dangerous topics, you need to protect yourself online. If you're paying a VPN for privacy, stop. They're not protecting you, they're spying on you. Israel has infiltrated and compromised the world's leading VPNs, ExpressVPN, Nord CyberGhost, PIA, and more. As for industry leader Proton, they are funded and controlled by the World Economic Forum. You can't believe anything these guys say. Because we care about our viewers and this movement, we're revealing the first trustless VPN, VP.net. Built in 2025, so that even if it wanted to spy on you, it couldn't. Even if the feds came knocking, they'll walk away empty-handed. It's built inside a secure enclave, uses military-grade encryption and stores zero data. Yes, really, zero zilch nada. Check it out at vp.net/TPV. And here's the best part. It's 100% American-owned. No Mossad backdoors, no feds rifling through your DMs. Sign up today at vp.net/TPV. And you can finally stop asking, who's monitoring me? Because the answer is they were, but with vp.net, not anymore.